This is problem 13 from the Chapter 6 review. We are to divide these two rational expressions. Remember, when we divide rational expressions, when we divide fractions, we take the reciprocal of the second fraction and multiply it times the first fraction. Now, if we're going to be multiplying, then we want to factor the polynomials so we can cancel common factors to 1 and simplify our answer. Let's do this. As we rewrite this problem into a multiplication by taking the reciprocal of the second fraction, at the same time that we're going to rewrite it, let's rewrite it in its factored form. So let's start here with this trinomial. We're again going to be turning this into a multiplication by taking the reciprocal of that fraction as we factor it. But let's start with the factorization here. That's a trinomial. Since those are both additions, they will be additions in the binomials. And so 8 times 8 makes 64, and 8 plus 8 would make 16. Plus 8x plus 8x more is the O and the I of FOIL, which gives us plus 16x. One thing we should notice about this binomial, the binomial contains a common factor of 2. So let's pull that common factor out here to begin with. 2 times the binomial x squared minus 64 would make 2x squared minus 128. So 2 is the first factor that we have here in this new denominator. And x squared minus 64, we should recognize that as the difference of squares. That's x squared minus 8 squared. 8 squared is 64. That binomial is the difference of squares. And that will factor into x plus 8 and x minus 8. And we now see a common factor we're going to be able to cancel to 1. Now let's cancel this first polynomial we have here in the numerator, and as we cancel it, we will put it down in the denominator, because remember again, when you divide fractions, you take the reciprocal of the second fraction and multiply. So I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to factor that trinomial and put the resulting binomials here in the denominator. Again, plus and plus means x plus in the binomials. And I need to make 16 when I multiply and 10 when I combine terms under the O and the I of FOIL. Well, that would work with a 2 and an 8, would it not? Plus 2 times plus 8 is going to make plus 16 under the L of FOIL. Plus 8x plus 2x more when combined gives me plus 10x under the O and the I of FOIL. Now let's look at this trinomial, whose factorization we will put into the numerator of the fraction, because again, when we divide, we turn it into a multiplication and we take the reciprocal of the fraction. Well, in this case, in order to get a minus 16, one of the terms has to be x plus and the other one has to be x minus. And it would really be nice if it was x plus 2, so that I could cancel the x plus 2 that's there. Let's put a 2 there and see what we could find here that would work. Well, a plus 2 times a minus 8 would give us minus 16 under the L of FOIL, and minus 8x plus 2x is minus 6x under the O and the I of FOIL. And we have our factorizations. And we inverted that fraction in the same step. Now it's a multiplication. Now we simplify. The x plus 8 here can cancel the x plus 8 that is there. And remember, when things cancel, they always cancel to 1. Is truly what you're canceling to. Anything over itself is equal to 1, with the exception of 0. We can't have 0 over 0. And x plus 8 couldn't allow to be 0, because we have 0 in the denominator, and we can't allow that to occur. This x plus 8 will cancel the x plus 8 over here. The x plus 2's will cancel. The x minus 8's will cancel. And again, each of those cancellations, I'll get the words out in a moment, each of those cancellations is canceling to 1, a factor of 1. So what's left in the numerator is simply factors of 1. And what's left in the denominator is 2 times a bunch of factors of 1. And that entire expression, as we perform the division, results in being equal to 1/2. Which again, consider what that means. That means that no matter what you plugged in for x and then simplified those expressions, it would always simplify to 1/2. No matter what value you put in there that was a legitimate value to put in, again, certain values wouldn't be legitimate. We couldn't put in 8 or -8 or -2 because those values would make the denominators become 0. But any legitimate value that you could put in for x, when you evaluated that expression, would simply evaluate to 1/2.